First is going to be Maz Mama Bear. How you doing, Maz Mama Bear?
I'm doing okay. I think I'm coming down with the cold, but otherwise, good.
Okay, sorry to hear that.
No,
Our next contestant and guest is Mr. Terrence, the all knowledgeable. How you doing, Terrence?
I'm all right. How you doing?
All right. Next is Mr. SHAUN Stackhouse, the biggest Superman fan on the planet, I do believe.
Well, I mean, Terrence
is Mr. Chris Knight, the mouthpiece and the voice of the Fandom Menace.
Yes.
Everybody, how y'all doing?
Thank you for having me on again, Danny. And don't listen to Sean; he knows nothing.
Well, tonight, people, this is going to be the officially the first Chaotic Conversation kickoff we having. Myself, Chris, and Sean are trying to, I guess, join together and form this thing on the Chaos Central channel. We're going to have 3 shows throughout the week. Mine's going to start off, like I said, the Chaotic Conversation. Chris is the Chaotic Countdown, and then we're going to end on Sunday night with the Rule of 3. With Chris. Sean has the Chaotic List, and Chris has the Rule of 3, which will be on Sundays. We're still trying to drive the time around, but please bear with us. We're going to get together, and we're going to make this thing work. Before we get into the show at the top of the night, I'm going to have each one of you tell the people where they can find you, tell them about yourself, and then we'll jump into the show. First, I'm going to start off with a lovely lady to my left, which is Maz Mama Bear. Go ahead and tell the people where they can find you at, Mads.
Hey, y'all. Mads Mama Bear here. You can find me at Mads Mama Bear on both Twitter and on YouTube. Also on Thursday night, on my channel, we'll be hosting the Queen's Council at 9:30 Eastern.
All right, next is Mr. Terrence. Go ahead, Terrence. Tell people where they can find you.
Hey, what's going on, humans? It's Terrence. If you go over to the Tremaine Terrence channel, that is where you will be able to find me and my brother Tremaine, and there are a lot of videos for you to look through. And if you want to know what it's about, I suggest you go over there.
Next would be Mr. SHAUN Stackhouse. Go ahead and tell people where they can find you at, sir.
What's up, guys? You can check me out at SHAUN Stackhouse Reacts on YouTube and SHAUN Stackhouse on Twitter.
And last but not least is Mr. Chris Knight.
Yeah, you can find me here. You can find me over on SHAUN Stackhouse's channel. You can find me on The Real Review 3000, my home. Go there. That's Real Review 3000 on YouTube. And you can find me on Twitter at Chris Knight 5150. And yeah.
Good deal. Okay, the purpose of the Chaotic Conversation is basically to pose a question, get other people's opinion on a topic that we all hold near and dear to our heart. In the past, we tried to see who's the best Superman, the best Spider-Man, best Batman, best this, best that.
Most of the time, by the way.
Say again?
Sean's failed most of the time on those.
Tonight, I think it's going to be something that nobody, I don't think, should have the exact same 5. It's impossible to have the exact same 5. Tonight's question is going to be, what are your top 5 supervillains that you secretly cheer for or that you openly hated? Now, what's going to be the little trick to that is that this supervillain can't be strictly comic book. He or she has to have been in a movie, TV show, animation, and I'm going to let him for a special edition because Maz asked for it, horror. So if it's not in that category, if you call a villain out, that villain hasn't been in one of those mediums, I'm going to say, because a lot of people don't have the knowledge that Chris, Sean, and especially Terrence has on comic books. You might call somebody and be like, who the hell is that? So today, that ain't going to be the show. The show going to be somebody that everybody that's not living under a rock should have seen this person on the big screen, TV, animation, one of those 3 means, or a horror movie. So, who do I want to hear first? I think I want to hear what Mr. Stackhouse has to say.
All right.
I'm going to let him go.
You don't. Trust me. It's just no.
Number 5, and he would have been higher on this list if it hadn't been for a recent film, but Palpatine. He was a villain that I used to root for until the Rise of Skywalker. Number 4, one of the best.
Let me get this. So you were rooting and happy that Palpatine made Order 66.
No, it's just that I didn't root for him all the time, but I like Palpatine as a bad guy. He was, and sometimes like I did root for him. Depending on when I would watch the films and like what age I was, but yeah, he's somebody that I love to hate, and now I just kind of hate.
Okay, I can live with that answer.
Number 4 is Hans Gruber from the first Die Hard. He wasn't a very hands-on bad guy, but I thought that when I think of like a cinematic villain, more often than not, Hans Gruber is going to be like the first few mentions. Number 3, and this one, he doesn't really count as a bad guy. He's just an antagonist. He would be Biff Tannen from Back to the Future.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I guess he depending on the film, I guess you could consider him a bad guy, especially in part 3. Number 2,
Buford, by the way, not Biff.
Well, yeah, but he's a Tannen,
Okay, well, then the Tannins would be the answer.
All right, the Tannins. Number 2 would be choose your own Joker, whatever Joker applies for you. But for me, mainly it would be Joker from Batman the Animated Series, voiced by Mark Hamill. He was pretty much the definitive Joker for me. And number 1, it should come as no shock to anyone, really. Skeletor.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Zod or something.
No. No, Skeletor. He's definitely somebody that I root for from time to time, because he's part villain and part comedy relief as well. So I like Skeletor. I think he and I could be friends and take over the world together.
Oh my God. Okay.
Listen, he fails on his own. He doesn't need your help on that.
Well, you're right.
Okay. Next, you're gonna listen to the lovely Maz Mama Bear. I'll see what her list is all about.
So you just said lovely. I assumed you were gonna say Chris.
Yeah, that would work too.
Thank you.
Okay, I will throw out an honorable mention to Freddy Krueger. For the horror category, because I absolutely adore him as a villain. I hate to conflate what he actually is. But he's a villain I like, and that's Robert Englund's Freddy Krueger, the classic one.
Yeah, indeed.
Because you can't beat it. He's got that wit, that sarcasm, all of that none of the others had.
No.
Most of them were just walking arsenals.
Even when the movies got like kind of bad, he was still the best part. I mean, it was always great. I mean, honestly, no, I agree.
Always the best part. Always the best part.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. For my actual top 5, gonna start off with, and a lot of the time I'm gonna list the specific actor because I think they did the ultimate for this character, my favorite version. Anthony Carrigan, Victor Zsasz in Gotham.
That's a good choice.
I was not a Zsasz fan walking into Gotham, but I absolutely adore his version of Victor Zsasz. Guys, just that smile, the deviousness, he's really good at playing the
Yeah, I can
He's
see
the only version of Zsasz that I could ever kind of like.
Yeah.
Also.
Gotta say, Michael J. White, Bronze Tiger from the Arrow series.
I didn't see him on there.
Yeah, he had the claws like Wolverine.
Yeah, I've had a crush on him forever. Even since we first spawned. So yeah, seeing him on a show that I really enjoyed, that I really loved, was even better. In the whole season with the prison thing, just wow. Moving on. Rebecca remains Mystique from the first X-Men movie.
Good choice.
Mm-hmm.
She was sexy. She was a badass. Anyone that can be absolutely butt naked and kick Wolverine's ass.
Yeah,
That's my kind of villain. That's a badass to me.
that was such a great fight in the first one. The way she
Right?
moves in that, it was really great.
Sweet, like, it's gorgeous.
I approve of her wardrobe.
Of course she would.
I feel for her because they were shooting in my area. They were shooting in my city for a lot of it.
Yeah, they were. weren't
Yeah. Yes.
they? Yeah.
I knew people that actually worked on the set for like the Statue of Liberty, set thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say Corey Michael Smith again from Gotham. He played the Riddler.
Oh yeah.
He did a phenomenal job.
You did.
And when they really got into it, there was moments that he was almost like what I really wanted to see out of the Riddler, where it was almost bordering on Jigsaw.
Yeah,
with the
very
business.
true.
And that was just, I love the intellectual factor of the Riddler, but to see that this is why he's a villain, this is why he's scary.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that I had waited a long time to see. And again, I'm going to repeat what Sean said. This should come to no surprise to anybody who knows me. Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman from Bat Returns.
Great choice. I like your list better than mine. Can I have your list?
I don't
even consider her a bad guy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the thing. She's technically, and I debated on that, to be honest, but she's technically a villain in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Or
she walks the line between.
She walks the line. She always has.
Catwoman's character. So you can always say that, she walks the line, but she is a bad guy at times.
Well, in that movie, she stabbed him with Batman with one of her claws. It broke off.
Listen, that was like her foreplay, though. That was kind of her foreplay.
Probably.
To be honest.
Yeah, don't say shame.
You fall off of a building, and you wake back up with a cat licking your face. Yeah, okay.
You're gonna get kind of crazy about things.
Yeah.
And it's all good. It's cool.
Very good, very good. Mr. Terrence, I am most eager to hear what you have to say on your top 5, sir.
Okay, none of these are comic book related because you told me to stay away from that. So, first is a character from my second favorite all-time television show. So, in terms of any television show that you've ever seen or heard of, it is, in my opinion, my favorite, and I prefer it over 99% of television shows. The show itself is called Dark Angel. It was James Cameron's TV show back in the early 2000s. And it's set in a post-apocalyptic Seattle, and it is about genetically enhanced super soldiers that escape from a facility called Manticore. Mm-hmm. And the villain is called Donald Lydecker, and this guy is responsible for training the genetically enhanced super soldiers. And his main group that he called his children, consisting of X5452, which was played by Jessica Alba. That was actually her breakout role.
Oh, right. I remember.
Was that the Witcher or something? What was it called?
Dark Angel.
Dark Angel.
Dark Angel. She was.
There was one called Witchblade, wasn't it? I thought it was Witchblade.
I think that was
no.
That was
Dark Angel.
She was also in Sin City. Mm-hmm. It's one of her most famous movies, and Fantastic Four. She was.
Yeah, that was after she blew up in that particular show. But Lydecker, that special group of children that he referred to as his children, he trained harder than the other individuals at Manticore. And one night they decided to escape because they wanted to be part of the outside world. They didn't want to just be part of the missions. And what I liked about Lydecker is that from when they escaped, he actually looked hurt by it. Like, why would they leave? But, he trained them very hard, mentally and physically. and he gave them too much individuality from the rest of the Manticore soldiers, which, by the way, they all ended up suffering because those Manticore soldiers decided to escape. And he just consistently tracked down the escaped Manticore soldiers for years and years and years, because we see that there was a time jump and X5452 was an adult and she was trying to lead a normal life while searching for her brothers. And like Donald Lidecker never stopped. Like I just love the fact that he was so consistent. His will was strong, and he's like, I'm gonna find these kids, I'm gonna bring them home, and I'm gonna punish them for escaping. Like it's my fault that I made them just think for themselves. Like I won't make that mistake again. I will rectify that mistake, once I capture them and return them to Manticore. So I really appreciated his character for that, and the fact that he's kind of what I wanted in my life at the time when I was a kid and I was looking for someone that was mentally and physically strong, but I was surrounded by a lot of weaklings, so I took a liking to Donald Lidecker for that reason.
Okay.
Next one would be Jason Voorhees, and the reason why I took a liking to him was I was exposed to him maybe when I was, I want to say 8 or 9 years old. I would go over to my cousin's house quite frequently. And when we weren't playing video games or reading comic books, we were watching horror movies. Everyone that you could possibly imagine, we were just binge watching entire franchises and stuff like that. And Jason Voorhees caught my attention because he was murdered by humans. Like they literally took him out to the water and they were laughing at him because he looked different and all that kind of stuff. And they forced him into the water. He couldn't swim and he's just there crying out for help. And the adults and the kids were laughing until he drowned. And, the rest, where his mom comes in and, kills a bunch of people. She gets killed. Jason magically comes back to life, grows up to be really big and strong and stops growing. And he just starts murking people. And I was cheering for this dude. I'm like, this guy is awesome. And I remember my cousins were laughing because they noticed that I would, cheer for the bad guys when they had the kind of reactions like, oh shit, oh man, that's messed up. I was just laughing and cheering and jumping out my seat and stuff. And, I explained to them, like, the fact that he was murdered, I feel I'm on his side. Like, it makes sense as to why he's killing people and as to why he's angry. So that's why I was rooting for him. So that'd be number 2. Number 3, a character named Benedict from The Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't cheering for him at first. At first, I thought he was just cool. He was the henchman that worked for a boss that was an idiot. And sure enough, he ended up killing his boss. And he ended up going from one of the Jack Slater films into the real world thanks to Jack Slater.
That was the dude with the crazy eye, right?
Yeah, the one with the glass eye, and he had like a whole case full of glass eyes.
And Terrence, the cool thing about that, like you said, when he realized or became self-aware is when it really changes for him.
Right. And that's like when I started cheering for him, when he walked up to a random human. He's like, hello, I would like to test a theory. And the guy's like, oh, what's that? He's like, well, bang, he just shoots him, just dead. And then he kind of runs away because he's expecting the cops to show up, because in the Jack Slater films, the whole entire police force shows up. The best cop in that universe, Jack Slater, shows up to beat him and stuff like that. But he noticed that didn't happen in the real world. So that's when I started to cheer for him. And then I really started to cheer for him when I saw that he took the Ripper, which is a villain from one of the previous Jack Slater films, and he had him at a restaurant, and he had the videotape in front of him, and he said, this world is your oyster. You are no longer bound by the rules of this movie. You can do whatever you want. And then he proceeds to go from movie to movie, recruiting all the bad guys, and he was going to summon them all at the same time to fuck some shit up in the real world. Unfortunately, he didn't get to realize his goal because he got killed by Jack Slater. But I'm like, that dude had me cheering like shit. I'm like, I would love to see him just call out all these villains at the same time. Like humans would shit themselves. They wouldn't know what to do.
That'd be a good character for a movie by itself.
Oh, absolutely. So when he failed, I was disappointed. I was like, "Fuck!" Like, like I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger is my boy, but in that moment, I was like, "Yo, if you lose Arnold, like I don't care. This villain is dope. Like for him to be a henchman and to be this ambitious, I was cheering my ass off for that dude. That's my number 3. Cool. Number 4 would be Shao Kahn in the context of Mortal Kombat Conquest, the series. Now, from the beginning of the show, when I saw him, I'm like, yeah, he's cool. I remember him from the games. This dude's a badass. I wish him the best. I hope he gets to kill at least 5 people before the show's over. And sure enough, there were moments where he got upset because normally he's pretty calm. He's laughing all the time and this and that. And he felt like somebody was betraying him. And that did turn out to be Reptile with his bitch ass, like he was betraying Shao Kahn and thinking that he can get away with it. And then you had like the main characters like Raiden, Kung Lao, Taja, and Zero. And Shao Kahn killed them all. Like he killed all the main characters. And he literally made it to where he tricked Raiden. Raiden was powerless. Raiden was down on his knees.
Yeah, I hate
and Shao Kahn. Like I thought it was great because that never happens.
Come on, Terry. Come on.
Hey, man. Hey. I love the fact that they did something different. Now, if it would have went to season 2, obviously he would have ended up losing. We all know how it would have turned out, but they were under the impression that they would be able to continue. And I thought that was a great way to lead the season off. Like imagine the audience reflecting on like the villain literally won.
My mouth dropped when I saw that ending. I was like, what the hell?
If you would have accepted it if it would have been Superman on his knees, though, right?
Fuck yeah.
Exactly.
And speaking to that, wait till later. Danny has something to relay to you about that.
Ooh, yeah. Did you see? Okay. I'm gonna let Terrence finish. Go ahead, Terrence.
Well, me having knowledge of the comics, I've seen Superman on his knees many times. But anyway.
Oh yeah.
Shao Kahn, he opened up a crest and he was throwing out like different items and stuff that belonged to these different characters. And he's like, dead. Kung Lao, dead. Taja, dead. And he did it in such a sarcastic way and he was laughing. And like Raiden looked so defeated. I'm like, this is awesome. I love this. So that's why I was cheering for him.
Yeah, he outsmarted his ass that time. I give him that. That is the best Mortal Kombat series of them all.
And then my number 5 is actually a combination of a lot of different individuals. It would be Ghostface from the Scream film franchise. Because, the first one you had 2 killers, second one 2 killers, third one 1 killer, fourth one 2 killers. I like the fact that they all had a similarity of like messing with their victims and forcing them to think about horror movies and letting them know that they really didn't have too much of a chance of survival. If they happen to answer a horror movie related question right, then they might get to live for a little while before they get stabbed or thrown out a window. Any number of creative ways to kill a human. So I was like, I was cheering for Ghostface in every movie. Like I wanted, the killers to win, but then they would all get killed at the end. I'm like, damn it, maybe in the next one. And in the fourth one, the killer got really, really close, like closer than all the other ones from the first 3 films. And even she ended up failing. So I was cheering until I wasn't because I was like, I saw this coming, but in a way I wanted the killer to go on. Like one of the killers would survive and then we get to see that killer again in, part 5. So, yeah. So, I came up with this list rather quickly because I'm like, I can spend 10 hours doing comic book stuff, but that would be easy for a guy like myself. I figured why not just do something differently as you suggested. So there's my list.
Well, I think I'm gonna go next. I stick more to the comic book characters. I will agree with Mads that my honorable mention is Freddy Krueger. First time I saw that shit, I couldn't sleep for about 2 or 3 weeks. Scared to sleep. Look around, jumping, all this kind of stuff.
The first one wasn't very graphic either. It was all in your mind.
Yeah,
what the hell?
Little claws and stuff, man. I hate that. I'm sticking more to the TV shows. My number 5 is Eobard Thawne, aka the Reverse Flash. I hate that bastard. How he always seems to be faster than the Flash. The Flash will take 10 steps forward, and then Eobard will be 10 steps ahead. He always seems to be one step ahead of the Flash. As you all know, Grant Gustin is my favorite Flash. I think he was born for that role. And how he can never get ahead of Eobard. Eobard always stays one step ahead of him. Always perplexes me. So he's my number 5. My number 4 is Loki, God of Mischief. I kind of secretly cheer for Loki sometimes, especially in Ragnarok. Whenever the Thor when the Hulk kind of smashed Thor like he did him, he cheered and said, "Yeah." I kind of cheered for him too, because I can imagine that did hurt. I'm very interested to see what Loki's going to do in his upcoming show, and also kind of cheered for Loki whenever he found out his mom was dead. He banded together with Thor to try and take out the Dark Elf. So I kind of rooted for him. Number 3, some of you I know Terrence probably know who this is, but Bushmaster. If any of you watch Luke Cage season 2, Bushmaster stole the season for me. I was cheering for him. I wasn't cheering for Luke Cage. Basically, Bushmaster gets his powers from these Jamaican herbs. I think they call it nightshade, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, nightshade. That's also a character too, by the way.
Yeah, but it enhances his strength. He's like bulletproof. He's already like a world-class martial artist, so he's able to go almost toe-to-toe with Luke Cage. And his charisma, his accent. And in the end, it found out he was really on a righteous mission, because the bad guy in there, I can't think of her name, Lady something.
Mariah Stokes.
Yeah, Lady Stokes. She stole pretty much his half of the fortune, which was the club and his famous Jamaican rum. So she took everything from him and killed his mom. So that was his revenge to come back and take revenge on her. So if you haven't seen Luke Cage season 2, check it out, because Bushmasters, in my opinion, steals the show. My number 2 is Tobias Whale. Tobias Whale is the bad guy that plays on Black Lightning. I don't know where this cat came from, but man, he was built for that part. He was made for that part. Me and Terrence was talking, man. He kills you with his words, man. He says some stuff, man. He's on a different level as far as playing with your mind, getting you to do stuff you want to do. He's the master manipulator. And on top of that, he has enhanced strength. It slows down his aging, and he's a badass all around, mentally and physically. Very smart. I don't know what his IQ is, but it should be off the charts, because he reads.
Yeah, he's extremely intelligent.
Yeah. Tobias Whale. And I cheer for him. I go back and forth. Sometimes I cheer for him, and sometimes I'll be like, kill his ass. Right now, I'm kind of in between. And last but not least is number 1 is the Heath Ledger Joker. He is by far my favorite Joker. It's a shame that he died. I would like to see him in another Batman, and reprising the role as Joker. Some people say that Joaquin Phoenix was a better Joker. Tomato. In my opinion, if it's more of the cartoon comic book than Heath Ledger is, if it's more realistic, what could possibly happen in the real world, then the nod goes to Joaquin. But
they're both great in different ways, is what it is.
To me, Heath Ledger Joker I think he was even better than Jack Nicholson. Some people are going to say I'm crazy, but for me, Heath Ledger Joker was the best, and I rooted for him. And I'm a big Christian Bale fan, but I was rooting for the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my 5. And last but not least is Mr. Christopher Nutt.
Okay, so I have 5 honorable mentions, which I'll get to after the fact. Let's start with number 5. Number 5 on my list is Bill Foster, otherwise known as Defense, and that is from the movie Falling Down. That is Michael Douglas's favorite movie he was ever in, and basically he is the villain, but you follow him throughout the movie. He's the main character, but he is also the villain, and you get to understand from his eyes why he does what he does. And if you've never seen the movie Falling Down, I really suggest you go see it, because I think it's one of the, I don't want to say it's one of the best movies ever, but it is an absolute great movie in my opinion. Then second, Beetlejuice. Listen, you know, they invite you to help get rid of these people out of your house, and then they tell him, "Oh no, you're a horrible person. Get away, get away, get away." It's like, I like the guy. I mean, he's brash. He's a little unconventional, but in all, I mean, I like the guy throughout the thing. I mean, he's nasty and he's crude, and so there's parts of it you hate, but it's like, dude, the guy's, you know, I like him. Number 3, and I'm surprised that one of these was not on your list, Danny, but we did have one. We had one, and I told you and it was not actually the one I thought we'd have, but it is one. Loki. You just gotta love Loki. Loki is, all in all, I don't know if he really wants the bad guy. It's just like he doesn't have a spot. So he aligns with whatever is best for him at the moment. So that alone makes him like a bad guy. Bad guys sometimes aren't completely bad. They just say, wait a minute, this side's winning, that side's winning. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to be over here. And that's kind of like Catwoman. He is almost the Catwoman of the Marvel franchise. It just depends on what suits him at the moment. And Tom Hiddleston, I'm sorry, he makes that character through. I mean,
everybody said they couldn't see anybody else playing Wolverine. I couldn't see anybody else playing Loki. And
exactly, I'm that way on both of them. And you could probably sway me on Wolverine, because I know there's other people out there that could do Wolverine, but Tom Hiddleston is just literally, he was made for Loki, and that's why I'm glad they're giving him a series, and I hope that series goes really well. I'm really looking forward to that. Number 2 is Magneto. Magneto, because here's the thing. While you don't necessarily like Magneto, you do see that he's not wrong. All he's trying to do is protect his own kind. He's been shunned. He's been pushed out. He was a part of the Holocaust. Everywhere he's gone, he's not what everybody wants him to be. So when he finds the group that he's supposed to be a part of, and he meets Charles Xavier, he tries to go down that path that Charles Xavier goes down. But the problem is every time they go down that path, they're the ones that get hurt. His people, his kind, who he is. And so much like, let's say, the Native Americans who feel like they have been shunned, they've been hurt, and everywhere they go, when they try to work with the people that they're hoping will help them, they've gotten hurt. Whatever you want to, it's that type of story.
The only bad thing about that is he will sacrifice his people to his gains.
That's true, but at the same time, what do people? I mean, when we send people to war, what are we doing?
But he's killed countless humans in the comics. Like, Magneto has killed innocent humans that had nothing to do with harming mutants. He just was like, humans, no, you're here. I think you're part of them. You die. Like, he's done that many times.
You can't make an omelet without cracking some eggs.
I agree. I think Magneto is amazing. I would join him in a heartbeat.
I'm just saying, if you're asking, again, it's that line. It's that line. And much like Bill Foster, if you haven't seen Falling Down, it's almost like that. He's doing things you're like, man, that's wrong. But the way they show it, you can literally start to justify some of it.
You're talking craziness, because sometimes the mutant gene jumps siblings or parents. So you mean to tell me, Terrence, if you're a mutant but Tremaine is not, you gonna kill Tremaine?
No, here's the thing. Like, my brother will be fine. Like, unless, like, put it like this, like how Magneto sees Charles, that's kind of like how I would see my brother and friends. Like, I would let them know, like, you're fine unless you do something to get in my way. then I'm going to have to like lock you up. And if you get out and you keep causing problems, at that point, I will kill you. But no, I unlike Magneto, I do have respect for those that, you know, I deem to be worthy. Like, I'm not going to just haul off and kill necessarily a bunch of humans without remorse like Magneto. I will, but if, like I said, like how you mentioned Tremaine, no, I'm not going to do anything to my brother. I would warn him more than anyone else before I even lock him up. Like, Tremaine, you're fucking up. I told you to stop helping these humans. Tremaine, you're fucking up. And then I got to do what I got to do. But I think Tremaine respects me enough to not do something like that.
Okay.
And then my number one, Hannibal Lecter.
Oh my Lord.
Listen, this guy has a style. He has he's a gentleman, but at the same time, you know how dangerous he is. But what's funny is if you watch all the movies, you understand that if you give him credit in a way of being gentlemanly, or if you're nice enough to him or honest with him, he normally will spare you. It's the ones that he views are the swine of society, the people who are horrible people, that are the low lives of the earth, that talk crap on people. I mean, he goes after people that you can understand. It's like, okay, I hate that guy too. Maybe you didn't need to eat his liver, but hey, okay, whatever. I can say all right. But especially if you watch Hannibal, the movie, Starling in that, Clarice Starling, he doesn't kill her. I mean, he could kill her, and she even tries to handcuff him. And when she does that, you think he's going to kill her, and he doesn't. He cuts off his own hand to get away, but he still respects her so much that he won't kill her because she's been nothing but honest. She's been nothing but polite and straightforward about it. When he's asked questions, she's given him answers, and he respects her for that. So there's that side of it. It's just the swine. It's the people that go behind his back that try to trick him and try to undermine him that he goes after. So there's something very classical about that. You know, it's like, you know, you can see why. So, you know, that's my number one. You don't.
Danny, if you don't mind, I saw that Perp said that Kid Buu is a savage. I agree. Like, I would say that, you know, he's one of my many honorable mentions because, I mean, this dude showed up and he was really small in stature. And I remember my favorite character in that universe, Vegeta, was just talking mad shit to him. Kid Buu did not say a single word. He just was straight faced, and all of a sudden he just casually shot a beam, and it was enough to blow up the entire planet. And it was only at that moment did Vegeta and Goku start taking him seriously. And then, of course, as you know, he blew up the entire planet with ease. And he literally had Goku begging like a bitch to not blow up the planet. And I thought that was great. So I'm like, any villain that can show up, not say anything, to go to get the main characters to go from ha ha ha, this is not a threat, to begging like a little bitch. I'm like, that's an amazing villain right there. He didn't have to say a single word. He just had to show them. So Perp, I agree with that.
All right. Now my honorable mentions real quick here. 3 of them have already been said. The one that's the least is Hans Gruber, but I did agree with Sean on that. Joker and Freddy are on mine too, but I have 4 others, so I'll just say them. Let's go with Darth Vader, because you know what happens. So as the movies went on, I was like, okay, I like Darth Vader, and I secretly want to have him get back. The whole redemption thing, you want that, but you know what he's doing. You know, he's a bad guy, but you want him to come back and be.
Did you? Wait, did you want that, or is that?
Well, when I go back and watch them now, you're like, okay, I can see what they're trying to do, and the whole time, I guess I kind of think that. I mean, I guess if they'd done some sort of a voiceover track of what he was thinking, I'm sure that there were times when he questioned himself. In fact, if I remember reading some of the novelizations, it even kind of brings that out sometimes.
Because when I was a kid, when I saw that, I wanted him to team up with his son to kill Darth Sidious so they can rule together. That's what I wanted for Darth Vader.
But that's still rooting.
Yeah, of course.
I can't remember so much as a child. But I think maybe that would have been cool to have them rule together. That would have been interesting, sure. But as I grow up and I know the storyline, I'm kind of like, okay, I can see how you can like it. I mean, put it this way: in Rogue One, I was all for Darth Vader.
Yep.
And I mean, oh god,
yep.
Do it.
I was cheering loud as fuck when he showed up in the theater. I was like, kill them all.
Another one, Malfoy from the Harry Potter series. He's a dark wizard, but he's just like, there's something about Malfoy's character I just really like. It's like he's just stuck between two worlds where he just does whatever will get him noticed by his parents and by the people that he thinks he needs to show what he can do. That's a bad position to be in. So you kind of feel like, hey, I want this kid to make something of himself. Let's go.
I hated Malfoy. What was his daddy name?
Yeah, couldn't stand him.
It was Lucius. Yeah.
Oh, I hated Lucius. Lucius.
Yeah.
I wanted them dead.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next, Thanos. Thanos. I mean, come on. The guy isn't wrong. He's not right, but he's not wrong. Cutting the population down would save a lot of people, but that's what I'm just saying. I mean, you want to be mean to people out there, but it's the truth.
Well, you said
we have overpopulation in the world. I mean,
it's never mean to speak the truth, Chris. I want you to understand.
Yeah,
that.
I'm just saying.
Controversial sometimes.
Sick.
Okay, and last but not least, honorable mentions Moriarty from Sherlock Holmes. That basically an exact copy of Sherlock Holmes, except evil, the bad guy. But he's smart and he's cunning and he's everything that Sherlock Holmes is. It's just he wants things differently. So, I mean, if you root for Sherlock Holmes, if you're into that stuff, if you're into the books, you rooted for Moriarty and the original way that whole series ended, where, and spoiler alert, where they fell from a waterfall while dueling it out with swords. That's how it should have ended. But Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was forced into bringing back Sherlock Holmes, which lasted for I think 2 books, maybe. Can't remember how many more he wrote after that. And actually, if I remember right, when he came back, he was almost dead. And then I think it was assumed that Moriarty was still alive too. But Moriarty was always intriguing to me. So,
what's your favorite way that they were represented on film? Could be like TV, like Elementary. I think Moriarty was a female in Elementary.
See, Elementary, when I watch it, it's okay. It's a
very Americanized version.
So I'm not huge on that.
America does it all the time. They'll take a British show and they'll come and they'll switch it up. Bloop, bloop.
Yeah,
I grew up with Masterpiece Theater and a lot of that stuff on BBC or not BBC, but PBS first before BBC came along. So I watched a lot of the older stylizations, and then I think, Sean, you remember Miss Twyman's class? I think she showed one of Hound of the Baskervilles. I think she showed us that once.
So yeah.
So that was an older 60s version of it. But of all of them, I really do like the way that Robert Downey Jr. did it. It's like a mix of American with the original. I liked the first one. The second one was okay. They could have done a lot better because Moriarty was more a part of that. But I would say the old PBS BBC ones really got it right, and they normally broke that down into 2 or 3 slots, and then later on, when home video and DVD came out, they started putting them all together in movies. And so I've seen a lot of different versions, but anything that's done by British television, L Street, BBC Studios, any of those are really, really good, I think.
I like the Sherlock one with Benedict Cumberbatch.
That was pretty good.
Honestly, I liked both Robert Downey Jr. and Benedict Cumberbatch equally.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's the same thing as Spider-Man. You take both of them, you'd have the perfect Holmes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Benedict was physically Sherlock Holmes. He pulled off the attitude correctly. He just wasn't the fighter that Robert Downey Jr. was. Robert Downey had more of the smartass down just a bit.
Yeah, what I liked about Robert Downey Jr. was that he was aloof at times, which if you read it, that's what Sherlock Holmes was. In fact, the first Sherlock Holmes was the first Sherlock Holmes. It was actually Watson was the big guy. He was actually the smart one and did everything. So, yeah. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back.
But Danny, to just to let you know, man. I mean, when it comes to villains, I mean, I have so many that I like, and I just ever since I was a kid, I just could relate to them more than like, the heroes or the popular guy or this and that. I just that just wasn't me. The villains, they always had like a certain way of thinking and certain agendas and goals that I really liked. I thought was cool.
Villains really had the struggle. The heroes, most of the time when we were growing up, they're the ones that got it easy. You could sat there, you could understand why the villains were that way a lot of the time.
One of my honorable mentions is Colonel Tavington. I don't know if any of y'all watched The Patriot. It's like one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
That sucker was a son of a B-boy. He was just mean and nasty for the sake of being mean and nasty.
Yeah, he was awesome.
So I was really, you gonna sit there and kill a man's son in front of him?
That's what a villain's supposed to do, Daddy.
And don't expect retribution. I was glad every step of the way that Mel Gibson outsmarted his ass and was able to kill him at the end.
Yeah, I was cheering for Mel after that, but I mean, I like when the villains they're just villains. They do what they're supposed to do. Like anything that can make, I don't know, the average human like go, oh no, why'd you do that? That's your villain. When they can make someone feel like that, that's a villain.
But some makes sense. Like I could see Mr. Freeze's plight. Like his wife, she's dying. He's trying to save her. He got in this damn messed up condition. Now people trying to fuck with him and his wife. So okay, I'm gonna freeze you. I can see that.
Oh yeah,
he's trying to save you. But what is the purpose of the Joker? That's just uncontrolled chaos.
Oh yeah, and not even in its worst form. Like something like Emperor, God Emperor Joker. Like that's just god. Like when he has.
There's this one I read, and I know I shared it with SHAUN a while back. That the whole theory is that in the second Batman movie with Christian Bale, with Heath Ledger's Joker, that Heath Ledger's Joker was actually the hero of the movie.
Where'd you read that at?
I'll pull it up and I'll share it with you later on. But the whole concept behind it, and that's really what got the whole villain idea into my head, was Joker's the one that got the gangs off the streets. He's the reason that they all got rounded up and put into jail. Rooted out the cops that were either shifty, were the dirty cops.
I could be misconstrued as that, but
yeah, Joker is 100% evil. Like just because he's right doesn't mean that he's not evil.
No doubt. I'm gonna find this, and you know what, Danny, I'm gonna share it to you before the thing's over.
Okay.
Because it's really thought provoking.
Yeah, like this dude is killing people with a pencil. He's forcing his crew to kill each other for fun. I mean, like, Joker's an asshole. He's like, when I think about evil, like if someone says that the Joker is coming, that's 100% bad. Like, no, it's time to leave. It's time to leave.
Yep. To me, my favorite villain is the Riddler. There is I can't think of it. I got the book somewhere in my junk, but he has Batman jumping through so many hoops to save Robin, and he finally saves him. But it took all of Batman's brilliance, everything in his bag of tricks to save Robin. I cannot think of the name of that story.
Danny, I'll tell you this: like the Riddler's amazing, but like God Emperor Joker is a version of Joker where he's Mr. Mxyzptlk's power, and like this dude completely wiped out all of reality, and then he reformed it in his own image, and then he had Batman in a torture chamber where he killed him every day in different ways just because he thought it was funny. And then he did something like he killed everybody in China, which is 1 billion people, and he put their skulls in a box and he ate their skulls with chopsticks.
Is this on? I got Marvel Unlimited. What's the name of that story?
Oh shoot! Oh man, like I have to get back to you on that because that was like a long time ago when I was a kid when I read that one. But it's a one-off story. It's not like canon or anything.
Maybe I can find on it. I have that Marvel Unlimited where I get all the Marvel comic books and DC comic books.
Yeah,
I might have to find that one.
Yeah, that one. When you read that one, like okay, like it took. What happened was, Mxyzptlk, he gave Joker 1% of his power, which is too much.
Yeah,
and the Joker tricked him to reveal his secret name, which gave him 99% of Mr. Mxyzptlk's power. And then, that's where he did all the stuff I just said and more. And then it took like Darkseid, the All-Father, like they confronted him because Darkseid was actually concerned, like, oh shit, like we got to do something about Joker. Joker pretty much stopped all of them. And it took like Superman going to Spectre. And this is how powerful Spectre is, Danny. Like Superman punched him with a powerful punch. And you know what it did to Spectre? Absolutely nothing. He didn't even move when Superman punched him. So he told him that they have to go to Mr. Mxyzptlk to figure out there has to be like something that the Joker is weak to. He has to have at least one weakness. And like Mxyzptlk told him, like, well, go talk to him, interact with him, and you will find it that way. And Superman was like, well, in all these scenarios where he's completely warped reality, one thing has remained the same, which is Batman. And then he was like, Joker, kill Batman, like to where you're not going to bring him back to life after you do it. And Joker couldn't do it. So he like literally ended up just losing control of his power. And that's how he lost his power, because he couldn't figure out like how to get rid of Batman and stay completely happy, even though he could literally do whatever he wanted. And then it took Spectre, Mr. Mxyzptlk, and Superman to reshape the entire universe after Joker fucked it up.
Damn. Yeah, I want to read that. I might go to my comic book store next week and get that.
Okay, Danny, I put it in our group chat on Twitter.
Proper.
Okay, other honorable mentions for me, I will say, I absolutely always have loved Maleficent. And the Angelina Jolie movie was just, was just pure beauty in that case. But you also got Maleficent, the Wicked Queen from Sleeping Beauty.
I've seen the first one. I didn't get to see the second one.
Yeah. I'm going to say The Grinch also, because you know what? I get it.
Well,
as a kid, I didn't like him because, the whole stealing Christmas thing. Now I get it as an adult because all he wants is just some friggin' peace and quiet.
And he also turns out to realize the point.
Yeah.
And I mean, so it's like Scrooge.
Yeah.
Scrooge and him are the same. It's like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. And then something snaps. And then it's Cindy Lou Who, I think, and Grinch. And it's Tiny Tim and the Christmas Carol or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. Beyond that, again, another one that my views changed on over the years. Wizard of Oz. the Wicked Witch of the West. As a kid, scared the jinkies out of me. Now, looking at it from a different perspective, I get it.
She killed her sister.
Killed her sister, ran off with the only possession she has left of her. Yeah, I'd be out for revenge too.
I can see that.
Any more honorable mentions?
Thinking.
Yeah.
Well, I do agree with you, Danny, on Reverse Flash. A good example would be the Flashpoint storyline, where it was near the end of that main series, because you got like the 5 main ones, and there's like 50 something other comic books where they're like telling stories within that main storyline. But like Reverse Flash made Barry Allen feel like shit, because he's like, man, like, you're supposed to be the superhero and you decided to fuck up the timeline just to save your mommy. How does that make you feel? Mm-hmm. That for once you can't blame me for this shit? And I will never forget that panel, because it's just like his face was just like, you have jack shit to say, Mr. Superhero. Like, you only can blame yourself. Yep. Like, it was a great moment. So
they kind of did it on the show too.
Yeah, they did.
When he was in, that jail that Zoom had him in. Get him out. Yeah.
Right. So anytime a villain can make you think about something, because sure, like a great villain can be like the Anti-Monitor that just destroys an entire multiverse, but like a villain can also be great just by making the heroes think before they whoop their ass.
Yep.
Like, I want you to process this before you get your ass whooped and I kill you or kill your family and friends. You now have something to think about. Like, I've always gravitated towards those kinds of villains, because it's usually like, the superheroes, the goody two shoes, or your average person always talking about, you should do this, you shouldn't do that. But like, when you say the right thing to them, they have nothing to say. It's like, what you got to say about that now, Mr. Goody Two Shoes?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. That's why, you and me like Tobias so much, because his tongue is just as dangerous as any projectile or any beam that somebody can shoot at you.
He will whip your ass with his tongue, buddy.
Yes, he will fuck your head all the way up.
Hey, I'm looking at the chat. I'm going to click this on. Perp, I agree with you 1,000%.
Sean?
No, I didn't mean that one.
Damn, he's not supposed to be asleep. Like, Danny, you were going to say something about Superman. Like, what?
No.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's hiding.
Did Sean go to sleep on? Yeah.
Sean,
wake the fuck up.
I'm not asleep.
Oh, okay, my bad, Sean.
The other night we had Darth Vader on our chat.
I had him over on the Real Review 3000. I had Darth Vader himself.
And the question was posed not by me. I didn't ask it.
No,
me.
Should I play that part if I can find it real quick?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I'm gonna get out real quick so I can listen to it without you guys hearing it, and I will be back here in just a second, and then we'll play it.
Okay. But I wait till he come back. But to click on this right here, Siler from Heroes. Yes, he is underrated. Siler, man, like you said, if you know that Joker's coming to your house, you better haul ass.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Heroes, Terrence?
I do. I used to watch that around the same time as Smallville, but
Siler wasn't no joke.
But I'll say this though, I think the reason why he's underrated is because he was in the later part of the series when it wasn't as good as the first season. That's number one.
He was in the first season.
He was the villain in the first season.
Yeah, he was the main villain. Because you had to cut your head open and then see inside your brain.
That's right. You're right.
Your power work.
You're right. I am thinking of the later seasons when it was terrible. Like
the whole series is underrated.
The second time around, it sucked. But the very first time, man, it was on point.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll just go to my. I'll go to
fate.
my second. I'll go to my second thing then. Like, I think that Sylar, like, I wouldn't put him on the level of the Joker because of this. I've noticed that in certain moments of heroes, you can reason with Sylar and get him to hesitate in a way that you can't do that with the Joker. It just wouldn't work. Like anytime there's like, you could say something to him and he's considering your proposal and stuff like that. I'm like,
I beg to differ. The Killing Joke really un-Joker-like and un-Batman-like.
Okay, like right. Yeah.
What the hell?
Okay, but to be fair though, there is a common specific weakness with the Joker, and that is Batman. That's very true. Batman can get him to be confused and get irritated and angry. But outside of that, it's time to leave. Like if Sylar is coming, I would more so want to prepare for him versus leaving with the Joker. The Joker is too unpredictable. Sylar is predictable.
If you get a power he wants, your ass is in trouble.
You're absolutely right. Like he's a badass, but he's predictable. Like we knew what he was gonna do while we were watching Heroes. We don't know what the Joker's gonna do. I mean, 1 minute he could just take over a McDonald's because he thinks it's funny. The next minute he's blowing up a library. Like he's all over the place, which is something that perplexes Batman on a regular basis. I mean, it's just throughout his entire comic book history, really.
Yeah, I like the part especially when he was just like the nurse.
Yeah.
Get the bomb to work. That shit was funny.
Right.
My favorite thing about that scene is that was not planned.
That whole scene, that was
with him smacking the bomb.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was not planned. He held the trigger for the false explosives.
Yeah, he was just like, yeah, when is this gonna blow up? And then it blew up.
Like,
but
the battery's working,
You ready to play it?
Oh yes, Sean. I did ask, so just and this is from the other night when we had Darth Vader on as about his the Fallen Jedi film that he's going to be coming out with. So here we go. Gotcha.
Good answer.
Good answer. Yes. Is there anything else?
Batman is pretty wizard though. Gotta say.
Now, Danny probably has another question for you because he's been asking a lot of us lately a question about Superman and Goku. Now,
I didn't want to ask that, Chris.
I'm going to ask it for you because I'm interested. The All Supreme Lord Vader here. I really want to know what he believes. If Goku and Superman were to engage in a fight, who would win?
I would say possibly Goku.
And
the reason being,
Darth Vader.
Goku trains endlessly to be the best fighter in the universe, and he's also not opposed to killing. Superman, on the other hand, while he has killed in the past, usually gives his opponents the benefit of the doubt and tries his hardest not to kill them. Whereas Goku, if the fight is serious enough, he will take the life of his opponent. Also, Goku's come back from the dead, so I mean, he's got
and so has Superman.
And he's got.
But that is
I wish I was there to talk this human under the table with facts, dude. Like, Jesus.
Darth Vader said it. Darth Vader said it.
It's like his reasoning was so bad. I'm like, first of all, this human hesitated, and then he said possibly. I would have destroyed him just by starting it like that.
Darth Vader said it.
You were talking about like this dude. Like, if I could just show some clips, I'm like, so this is Goku. He's just like, oh, let me get these sensu beans for you, Vegeta, and then he just gets chopped in the back of his neck and completely goes back down to base form. Just knocked the fuck out. Like, I want you to show me where somebody's like, let me tiptoe real soft, chop Superman in the neck, and then he just tumbles down. Like, that dude would break his hand from doing some shit like that. Like, Superman would turn around like, excuse me? Did you touch me?
Parasite could do it.
Oh man.
Yeah, but
Okay,
Parasite can absorb his power for a short period of time. Yeah, but I mean, to tiptoe up on him, Superman would hear that.
Parasite,
yes, he'd hear it.
and I've seen Superman in the cartoons run from Parasite.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would run from Parasite too if he could absorb your powers.
So I'm pushing.
But to be fair, like we have gone over many times, it's not all that special to beat Superman. There are so many comic books where this guy has been defeated. But why was he defeated? Like, if you're putting him in a situation where he has to fight Goku to the death, all this like Superman, he wouldn't do that. It goes out the window because you know what? You can say the same shit for Goku, that he doesn't just do that. But in that situation, they're fighting to the death. So that means that Superman is going to do whatever it takes to kill this Saiyan that thinks he's special, even though in every single arc in the Dragon Ball saga, he has literally had help from all of his friends to beat every single villain, with the exception of like the weaker ones.
Terrence, you have got to stop drinking that Gatorade, man. It's going to stunt your growth.
Danny, okay. Oh, who beat Raditz, Danny? That was Piccolo. He shot him with the special beam cannon that also took out Goku, by the way. Like
he was weak back then. His power level was equal to ours.
Okay. Let's move on then.
Yeah,
in
but
terms of Vegeta,
is always the same. I mean, Superman's power has not increased or decreased. Depending on whatever version of him that you want to talk about. If it's classic Superman, as soon as he got his powers from a child, he had his powers.
Exactly.
There was no like, oh, he's like Super Saiyan Superman.
I'm not doubting that Superman is a badass. All I'm saying is that, and this is nothing that Danny made up. This is the shit that creators at DC made up. The motherfucker got 4 or 5 weaknesses. I can't help it. That's what he got. His ass is weak to magic, red sun, kryptonite. Okay,
that's only certain interpretations, Danny. To be fair, now granted, that's consistent, but okay. But Dan, you said, okay, when I mentioned Raditz, you're like, he's at his weaker form. What about when he fought Vegeta? Like, everybody had to help Goku, and they had to cut off the tail and stuff. Like Goku got crushed. Like, Vegeta was close to killing him.
Goku was close to killing Vegeta, but he had mercy.
No. That was after all of his friends interfered in the fight. And then even if you go to Frieza, what happened? Like, Krillin, his bald-headed friend, had to get killed in order for him to turn Super Saiyan. Like, it's always circumstantial.
And he showed mercy to Frieza and gave him some of his damn energy.
And guess what though? He didn't beat Frieza. Who ultimately beat Frieza? That was Trunks. And then if you move on to Cell, Goku didn't beat Cell. He quit against Cell. It was his son Gohan that beat Cell.
Okay.
And Goku was not strong enough. And then if you get to like Majin Buu, he couldn't do anything against Majin Buu. And then like when you get to Kid Buu, like this dude literally need the help of an entire universe for the sake of his spirit bomb that he was only able to create because Vegeta was distracting him. If you remove his friends from that equation, he wouldn't have been able to form the spirit bomb because he would have been getting attacked the whole time.
You can say the same thing to Super Friends and Superman.
No, because
the cartoon, that was made for little kids, sure. But I mean, if you want to go back to Superman the movie and Superman 2,
in the movie, Batman, a mere mortal almost beat Batman.
But
few seconds from whipping his ass from beating Superman.
You're right, Danny. But that's specifically what I just said. It's a circumstantial storyline. Okay. You have to make it.
You can also make an example out of Superman 2, where Superman was like holding his own against 3 Kryptonians.
Yeah, like I mean, this is a character that when people are like, how did he get his endurance? How did he get his strength? It's like it's not so much that he just got it out of nowhere. He already has it. He just has to go. The guy in front of me is dead as fuck, and that's all it takes. Like, and this is not even like him going, okay, I'm gonna go Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3, a trillion. Now I'm Super Saiyan Blue. Like none of that stuff. He's just Superman. Like the same thing with the Hulk. Like these people have to build up and transform into their strength. Superman doesn't have to do all that.
In order for Superman to become the really killer he is, Lois Lane had to die. And that's when he became this super duper.
No. Danny, remember, this is a scenario where You have put him in a situation and you told him to fight to the death. There's no variables, it's just fight. And if that happens, Goku is dead. Like, and then if you want to go to like, okay, well, he could just transform, then let's give Superman the same stuff. He doesn't need it, but let's just say for the sake of argument, I'm like, so what if he just becomes Superman Prime? If he becomes Superman Prime, he's virtually unstoppable. Like, you would have to be a character that can completely wipe out all of existence without even blinking. Like, you would have to be on a supreme level, because like he can practically do almost anything with a couple of limitations. Goku has never been on that level. He's not like on Xeno, you know, that character, the little small dude that just be erasing entire universes and shit. That's the level above a Superman Prime.
Superman has sneezed and like blown away an entire universe.
Yes, with a sneeze. And Goku can get knocked out from a chop. So imagine if Superman sneezed in front of him, like if somebody like blew some pepper in front of Superman's face and he just sneezed, like Goku would be dead so many times, King Kai wouldn't even know how to bring him back to life. That's what would happen. There's not a Dragon Ball that can save my boy if Superman sneezes in his face. I'm just saying.
Terrence, I got one quick question. Can you see the chat?
Superman's weaknesses are kryptonite. Goku doesn't have any. You know his. Perp, did you not hear anything that I just said about explaining his entire history, like how he hasn't accomplished anything on his own?
I heard for the last 5 minutes, you basically wasted 5 minutes of your life and 5 minutes of lung capacity in your oxygen, because you ain't convinced me one iota.
Okay. Let's go this way, Danny. Tell me something about Goku as to where you think he'd be able to beat Superman.
I think at Ultra Instinct that he would have a chance of defeating Superman.
Oh, okay, Ultra Instinct.
You've never seen. I'm not saying all these lower ones. All these lower ones don't have a chance. But I'm saying that the last thing I saw when he achieved Ultra Instinct, that puts him on a different level.
Oh, okay, but you said you saw that. I saw it too. Did you not see when he got tired? And then Vegeta had to give him power in order for him to beat Jiren in that tournament of power.
But in every new chapter, Goku's always improving. Correct?
Okay, but did you see how you said that?
We just said
in every new chapter it takes time, though. Correct?
It does.
Okay, so if it takes time, how do you deal with someone that doesn't need time to just be hacked? They just already are. Okay. That's Superman. He doesn't need another chapter. He's Superman.
Wait, real quick here. I just got to say something real quick before I have to go, because they're working on the water line out front in some way, shape, or form. So I got to go take a shower before they turn the water off, because I'm sure they're going to. But I just want to mention who is the all supreme person in the universe. It's me, because I've totally changed the conversation by bringing up one thing.
But see, this is good though, Chris, because you know Danny wants to mention Ultra Instinct. I'm like, hey, well, can Ultra Instinct do whatever he wants? The answer is no, because we saw that there are limitations and he can be exhausted. If you put him up against Superman Prime, who doesn't get exhausted, that could essentially do whatever he wants, Goku loses by default. You can't beat that unless you get on the same level. What is he going to do? What is he going to do?
Well, even like Superman Standard doesn't get exhausted easily.
Oh my god!
All right, guys, I gotta head out.
I gotta do it too.
All right, take it easy, guys.
Bye, guys.
Here's a really good one. Since you just watched Crisis on Infinite Earths, Danny. Now they didn't do it like that in the context of the Arrowverse, but in the comics, it was actually Superman that defeated the Anti-Monitor with a punch. Now, I want you to understand, as you saw, like this dude literally wiped out the entire DC multiverse. Like he literally fought all of DC's best heroes and villains, and he made them all look like bitches in comparison. Superman gets so upset, and he says specifically, I have had enough, and he kills the Anti-Monitor with a punch. There's never been a single form of Goku that can wipe out a multiverse, because he gets exhausted just from fighting. He's not on that level.
Two different totally universes you're talking about. That's like comparison the Star Wars universe to the Star Trek universe.
Well, but if we're talking about Goku and Superman, though, it's very different.
At the peak of whatever Superman is to the people that were Goku. All we saw is the first part of Goku. If I guarantee in the next whatever they do in Dragon Ball, whatever, Goku is gonna master and be done master that. And everything he's mastered, he's kill it.
And okay, to your point, we're gonna see him master that possibly, right? Depending on how they continue.
Right. Yeah.
But the pattern, though, if you notice, it remains the same with Goku. It tends to be based on his emotions. He tends to have help from his friends. We've seen him get exhausted in every form. So if they're going to continue and be consistent, that will always be there. That is something that does not follow Superman in the same way. Like, he doesn't have to work to anything. He just is. Like, that's why he's considered a very hacked character, because every time he loses, even I have to go, why didn't he do this? How come he didn't do that? You know, it's like a lot of questions that I have.
You got a conscience, and the only time I seen Superman really snap was whenever the Joker had him trick and kill Lois.
Okay, but Superman is killed before in the comic books. Like, he's killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, I've seen that, but I mean, I'm talking about this fuck it. I don't care. I'm not this Boy Scout anymore. The hell with choose justice in the American way. I'm gonna do it my way. The only time he's been like that is when Lois, which is you could consider another weakness, has died.
Not all the time. I mean, there's many examples in the comic books.
I've seen him.
But in the comic books, you have him killing Kryptonians. This dude has killed Dr. Light. Danny, he literally heat visioned Dr. Light's face off. Like, have you seen The Boys by any chance?
The Boys. On that with the way he killed that girl at the end.
Yes. Yeah. Now picture Superman did that, but in the context of the comic panels, it looked worse because you didn't really see ahead with the heat vision. Like, and you know, this dude is like casually punching like Joker through the chest and stuff. Like, he's definitely murked some people in the way that he killed Doomsday. I mean, this guy kills, but like you said, it's under special circumstances. But in a fight against Goku, if you're saying that it's a fight to the death, like, all that goes out the window. There is no like Lois has to be there. This is a situation where you have told me they have to fight. It's like the death battle thing that they have on YouTube when they just have characters fight. There is no like, oh, they need this character to be there and this and that. It's just like, no, you have decided to put these characters against each other, and they're in a situation to where they have to fight to the death. That is it. There are no other variables except for what the characters can do. And if we go off of that, Superman can do more than most that I've seen just by him deciding to do it. It's really insane. Like, his character is hacked. Like, Goku's character, like, I don't care if it's like Dragon Ball Z, GT, Kai, whatever, Super, right? Mm-hmm. I've said like Goku is cheating only in the sense that I see him just suddenly get better than everybody else, knowing that like someone like Vegeta should be stronger than him. I like how in Super they actually said that, you know, Vegeta was stronger than him at a certain point. That was said by Whis, which was amazing, you know, for people that, you know, like to say that didn't happen. I'm glad they actually had specific dialogue for that. But like his feats were, even though sometimes they were surprising, they were always reasonable in a way to where Superman stuff is unreasonable. It's like, this dude is just hacked. Like, Goku, his just makes sense. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's Super Saiyan Blue, and he did his training and this and that. He has, like you said, by the next chapter, this dude has been allowed time to improve. So it makes more sense. It can sit well with me in a way that it just doesn't work like that with Superman. That's the big difference.
I'm gonna stay within the laws that comic books and shows have allowed us to navigate in. So you telling me, let's say for instance, they get this fight 2 days from now, it's gonna be a fight to the death. Superman versus Goku at his strongest form we see him is Ultra Instinct. It's not possible that he can find the Dragon Balls and wish to be stronger than his upcoming opponent, or just as strong. That's not allowed.
Now that's a different variable. Like if Goku, you're talking about if Goku lands and Superman lands in front of him, that he would flee to get the Dragon Balls to make that kind of wish.
I'm saying this is a predetermined date when they're gonna fight. 2 days from today's date, Goku will be fighting Superman. He's at his strongest. We've seen him on TV, which is Ultra Instinct. But within those 2 days, he gets the Dragon Radar and finds the 7 Dragon Balls and makes the wish to Shenron that he wants to be his most powerful form ever, potentially, or just as strong as his upcoming opponent. That's not possible.
Well, kind of like, I'll put it to you like this. Like Shenron, he would have to know about Superman, like to be able to dictate, like, okay, this is going to allow you to be stronger than him. But the only problem, and this is really the only problem that I see with that, because, that is something that is interesting because it could theoretically work. But the problem I see with that is how does Shenron determine Superman's fullest potential when we have never seen it? We've never seen it.
Well,
like, how would he know?
I think if he can bring you back from the dead, that he's pretty all-knowing and pretty powerful.
Well, to be fair though, there was like, remember his reaction to Beerus being there? Like, I think there are things that can surprise him that he's like, oh shit, like that is really powerful. And when I compare like Beerus to Superman, like Superman would crush Beerus. And if he has a certain reaction to Beerus, what's to say that he won't feel that way about Superman when he's trying to examine his fullest potential? Because if he's going to make Goku stronger, he would have to know.
I got you. So you mean to tell me that them 2 little googly-eyed things that can destroy the universe and push a button is stronger than Superman?
Oh, wait, say that again?
Those 2 little things, like twins. They put the kings of all in the Dragon Ball Z world. With a push of a button, they can destroy like all the worlds and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? The 2 little things.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, they made the whole game. And they talk like little kids. And every time somebody loses, they blow up the world. They're playing it.
Oh, you're talking about you're not talking about Zeno, right? You're talking about somebody else?
Zeno.
Okay, yeah, okay, Zeno, yeah.
And then they're saying that angel's supposed to be like the most, even more powerful than the Zeno. What I've heard on some YouTube channel.
Right, yeah.
The angel's dad. So the angel's dad compared to Superman. Okay,
so I think now you're talking about Whis' father that was like pretty much guarding Zeno. Okay. Now, in terms of his physical power level, I can tell you that physically he's more powerful than Zeno, and he's definitely more powerful than his son Whis, right? That's facts. However, even though Zeno is not like physically powerful, because he has the power to erase a universe, it kind of trumps that, because then you could just erase that person from existence. And someone like how I mentioned with Mr. Mitzik Pitalik, he can do the same thing. He's on that level to where he could just wipe shit out and cement whatever reality he wants. So your question is, you're asking me if he can, like, if Shenron can analyze Zeno's power and somehow be able to determine how powerful Superman is?
Yep. And then transfer that power to Goku.
Okay, like here's what Shenron can do. Like, Goku would have to phrase it like, I wish to have the power of Zeno, right? Because that's like a feat we've never seen before. I don't know if it would work that way, but it's possible. So let's just entertain the idea that he did that, right? He got Zeno's powers, which means that he has the power to not only erase people from existence, but entire universes. If he goes up against, let's say, 99 different versions of Superman, like all the ones that I can think about, he would be able to just wipe them from existence and there would be no fight. Because like something like Superman Prime or Strange Visitor Superman, for example, they are in a position to where they can do more than the standard Superman. And usually I feel kind of odd saying that, because standard is still like stupid powerful. but those Supermen are beyond what most people would associate with that character. So to answer your question, if Goku can get Zeno's powers, he can just get rid of Superman. There would be no fight. That would be a definitive way he can win. But if we're talking about 2 days from now, Goku shows up, Superman shows up, and he hasn't wished for anything to where it would be on that level, he would lose. He would need a little boost to win. He would need something else, which that's actually a good thing that you brought up, because I did have to think about that, and that would ultimately be the deciding factor. Like, if you can just erase him from existence, it doesn't matter how fast or how strong Superman is, because you never have to deal with that. You just get rid of him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I honestly, Danny, like, if I'm gonna be fair, because you know me, I'm not gonna be biased. Like, you see how I was breaking this down based upon your question.
Mm-hmm.
So I honestly think that Goku would need a boost, like how you said brilliantly. Like, now that I thought about it, that's a rather brilliant idea, and hopefully Goku would be able to think of that, because Goku is dumb, but when it comes to fighting, that's the only thing that he's smart at when it comes to fighting.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good tactician when it comes to fighting. So if he can think of that, my boy Goku will come out on top, because I think that he's gonna need something that crazy to go up against Superman. Like, because Superman, he's just too much. Like, he's ridiculous.
I agree. David Cortana, I also agree with you on that. He was on my honorable mention. The Wrath of Khan. He was awesome. I hated him every step of the way on that movie.
Oh, like I just said, I responded to. Khan is iconic.
Yeah.
And I will not lie, even with the newer version, as soon as Benedict Cumberbatch turned around and said, "My name is Khan," I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I like the Khan better, but
I like the other Khan better, but Benedict Cumberbatch, I clapped for him. I gave him his props.
Yeah, he did a decent job.
I saw a couple of news things today. They're thinking about, and I said this to Terrence. What do you think about and I'm gonna butcher his name. The director of Thor Ragnarok is looking to be the director of Deadpool 3.
Oh yeah. Taika Waititi. He has a brilliance as a director. I feel like watching something like Thor Ragnarok is good to see his directing talents, but you really should see something like Jojo Rabbit, that he directed, where, when I saw that personally, I was like, I underestimated how good this guy is as a director. Like, I knew he was good, but because he was able to surprise me, I was able to give him more props. So I felt a little bit bad. Like, I didn't give him enough credit. I really did.
Something in Green Lantern other than play that goofy part. Because
that's funny. Like, not many people remember that that's Taika Waititi. That's funny, Danny. Yep. But
thinking another honorable mention. Kingpin from the Daredevil movie.
Yeah. Well, I kind of rooted for him though.
Yeah.
Y'all know I rooted for him, but he was that great balance of scary and you kind of loved him.
I'm gonna be honest, Danny. Like, the only reason that I like Kingpin from the Daredevil movie, even though I think that's a mediocre Daredevil movie, I liked that Kingpin only because it was played by Michael Clark Duncan. If it would have been anyone else, I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah. I think when they mess up on Daredevil, the fight scenes, I could not really see it clearly, especially in the bar. And that what kind of frustrated me. Well, the way they got this new technology where they can slow the punches down and show the stuff in slow motion, I love that. Or when they just want it fast, I want to see it clear. His fight scenes, I remember it being blurry and kind of dark. I was like, I can't see what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, they should have had a little bit more light in there. Like
Yeah.
from having read like different Daredevil comics, I got what they were trying to do from a creative standpoint, but it just like, hey, I can't really compliment it if I have a hard time seeing it. Like I was able to see it, but it was difficult. And because I was trying to focus so much on trying to see it, I sometimes would miss some of the details that are involved with the fight scene itself.
I agree.
But yeah, to answer your question, Danny, like with Deadpool 3, I think that Taika Waititi is a good fit for that because, I feel like now that I've seen Jojo Rabbit, I think he would bring the
I think
brilliance with his directing. The
he's gonna,
comedy would be good.
I think he's gonna be stretched thin though, because he's slated to do that. He's slated to do Mandalorian possibly, and he's also slated to do Thor 4. So
Right.
he's gonna have time to do all this stuff.
That's a good point. I did not consider that. I don't even think I knew that he was working on all of that quickly. I thought it was like a larger gap in between. But since you said that, that is something to think about that, he wouldn't have the time. But and then also it would make Deadpool 3 take longer to come out when honestly it should have been out like last year. Like
He must have to switch gears because he got to.
Yeah. I would want to see what he would do with Deadpool 3 under the circumstances that they specifically announced, and by they I mean Kevin Feige says Deadpool 3, Taika Waititi, rated R. If I don't hear that, I don't care. I don't want, like how I told you, I don't want a Once Upon a Deadpool type shit again. I don't want that.
Well, I think you might get it because it would be counterproductive for Disney to. They're not gonna get away. They're not gonna stray away from them kids because the kids were gonna put some of the parents in the seats. I want to go see Deadpool. And I don't know if some parents are gonna let their kids see all the graphic stuff that Deadpool can show.
Okay,
I don't know. I don't know.
That's fair, but I'll tell you this though. Bob Iger, the guy that runs Disney, everybody has to answer to him. Like he did say at one point, once they acquired Deadpool because of the Fox acquisition, that they planned on keeping Deadpool rated R. And I was one of the many people that were like, we'll believe it when we see it because you are Disney. Now, Deadpool has proved that it can make money at an R rating, and parents and different, would take their kids and stuff. Those movies made a lot of money. So I think that because of that, because we know that it can already work, that it shouldn't matter if, it says Marvel Studios Deadpool 3 and it's rated R. I still think that there will be enough MCU fans that would support the movie, and whatever parents bring their kids, fine, they could watch it later. But I think that the people that saw it initially will be the same ones that turn up. And then the ones that, for whatever reason, didn't watch the first two, they would probably turn up just to see how Kevin Feige handles an R-rated movie, the curiosity factor.
And I think that Disney is strong enough that they can have their own rated R section.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Because I, based on what I've seen, I think Venom 2 should be rated R.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I've heard. Now, this is what I've experienced. This is specifically coming from 99% of my conversation with these various humans. They haven't read a comic book in their life. They're just strictly, I saw a movie, I think I know all the answers type shit. I usually want to, toss them through a window. I'm like, you don't know shit. But like, they're like, no, it can be PG-13 like the first Venom. I'm like, look, if I had it my way, Venom 1 would have been rated R. But if you're going to bring in Cletus Cassidy, Carnage, I'm like, have you read a comic book with Carnage? This dude be ripping people's heads off and ripping people's spines out of their body. Like, he is a gruesome character. Like, I find it hard to believe that you're going to tell me that you're going to do a proper Carnage and you limit him to the restraints of like PG-13. Like, he can't fully explore the essence of his craziness to the highest degree when he's like, man, I want to rip out that spine on camera, but that's not family friendly. Okay, I guess I'll just throw him through a window. Like, it will feel odd.
They could still do that kind of stuff, but you could tease it like they do in Supernatural, whether it be just off camera, like you see it through a shadow or whatever.
Well, I mean, but I've seen in
order
Supernatural where
to-
they hold the
yes.
hearts in their hands, though.
Well, yeah.
Like Supernatural is pretty bloody. Like they have people's like the neck explodes and stuff. I'm like, damn, they can do that? Like, holy shit. But we didn't even get that in Venom 1. There was no like blood and the body would hit and the blood would spill out on
They're
the
gonna do the
pavement.
thing where they did. I can't. What was the bad guy in Venom? I can't think of his name now.
Ugh.
The
Damn
bad,
it. Let me
the bad.
Riot is the symbiote that he had, but it was like some generic guy in a business suit. I'm trying to remember his damn name, but yeah,
I think
like he got the Riot symbiote.
Well, when he got the when he was in that thing when he was counting down and he made his arms with big knives, he killed everybody in that room.
He did, but that's a good example.
He just show all the gory part.
Right.
So they're gonna do something like that.
See, that's what I don't want, because I feel like that's a perfect example that you just mentioned, Danny, because that's what I don't want to see with Carnage. I don't want him just to, we know that he's killing people, but you need to show the blood and stuff because that comes with the character. Like to me, that's the whole Once Upon a Deadpool thing. I'm like, sure, you can make it to where he's not foul and all this other stuff, but I'm like, who wants to see that shit from Deadpool or Carnage? Like, for the people that we know these characters, it's like, what are you doing? Like, this is watered down. Like, I'm going to feel that, and I don't want that. I'm not saying that, the movie can't be entertaining or that it can't be good, but I feel like if you're telling me you're doing a Carnage story, I make it mature. Don't be watering that shit down, because people are going to show up regardless.
If I was, I would do two things. I would make it rated R, and I would make that mother sucker 3D. And I'd get my money on the back end, because that's how what's the movie that James Cameron did? Avatar.
Avatar, yeah.
Avatar did so well. People don't realize that it was that when 3D was hitting. That's how he grossed all that money.
You're right.
Nowadays,
you're right.
If you're not contemplating 3D, you're seriously discounting yourself.
I would do that. I'd get that $15 a lick.
See, it's like we've seen it. It's like we saw the Deadpool movies do well. When Blade came out, all three of those were rated R, and they were all number one when they came out, specifically 2 and 3. Like number one, it kind of like it started off okay, and then more and more people watched it. So by the time number 2 came out, everybody went to see it. Those were all R-rated, and they were Marvel. And it's like that was never an issue of like, well, the kids can't come. Like, I think that as long as the movie looks good and people know that it's Marvel, they're gonna turn up. Like, sure, it won't make as much money as say a PG-13 necessarily, but it's gonna make some money.
They're gonna watch Sony, because Morbius has to be R-rated. How in the hell are you gonna have a vampire movie that's PG?
Oh, what a good question. Which brings us to Blade, Danny. You see, remember I was talking to you about Blade, how the millions of ideas that I have running through my mind. It's like, if they even do half of that, they're going to make bank. Just from the trailer, if they show half of the shit that I was talking about. But the thing is, like, some people are turned off. Like, some of my friends are like, man, I don't know, Terrence, like, PG-13 Blade, man, that sounds kind of whack. And I'm like, it's a little bit off-putting. However, if they drop that trailer and it looks badass and it's not typical MCU-esque, which means they're making jokes every 2 seconds and it's like silly and shit. Like, as long as it's not like that, I think I would be okay. Like, because I ain't got no choice. If he's just like PG-13, I'm like, fuck. But depending on what you show me, I may be a little bit more on board, even though I would prefer that you make Blade rated R. I'm like, when he be cutting up the vampires and shit, like, there's stuff that happens in Blade stories to where PG-13, like I said, you would be watering it down. The average person is not going to know the difference. So that's probably why they think, well, since they make up most of the money, we can do whatever we want. I'm like, sure, I guess it's all about making money, but do you really want the fans of Blade being like, man, this is trash? Like, you didn't do anything right. Like, I don't think Kevin Feige wants to hear that, because that'd be bad. Like, why would he want to hear that? He wants to hear that the fans, most of the fans like it, and the average person was able to get on board with it. He wants an overall like success thing.
You're right. You're right, brother. I hope all these things come to pass. That's all I can say.
Oh man, I have a feeling we're gonna get you know what? I'm not gonna be surprised though. I think I'd be surprised if Morbius is rated R. Like I'll be surprised because if Sony's like Morbius rated R because we haven't seen the rating yet, then I go, okay. I swear to God.
I think Sony gonna take a little bit more chances than Marvel, because now if Morbius is a hit, then Sony gonna get Marvel a little bit by the ball, so to speak, because everybody knows that follow comic books that Morbius and Blade is kind of tied at the hip.
Yeah, that's true. Now,
go ahead.
Now I was just gonna say that there is some wiggle room because, like, I mean, if Kevin Feige is smart, he will find a way to, talk to Sony about Blade and Morbius meeting and stuff like that, and Morbius making him even stronger by biting him. But there are comics to where Blade and Morbius do not interact. So Kevin Feige, being the master that he is, I think he can find a way around that. But I would prefer, like how you said, that they meet and we just get this all like connective tissue, and it's just amazing. Like, oh, it all connects.
I gotcha. Well, we're gonna wrap it up, fellas, because I gotta get up and go to work tomorrow. But before I go, I'm gonna let each one of you that stuck with me the whole 1 hour and 41 minutes tell the people where they can find you, and if you got anything you want to say, now's the time to say it. Ladies first. Go ahead, Maz. Got anything?
Hey, again, it's Matt's Mama Bear here. You can find me at Matt's Mama Bear both on Twitter and on YouTube. I'm hoping to be able to post up a pancake recipe for tomorrow, but considering most of you can probably hear that I'm congested, it's going to be a busy day tomorrow, so I'm not sure. Beyond that, Thursday, 9:30, my channel, Matt's Mama Bear, I'll be hosting the Queen's Council. No, don't miss it. It's going to be awesome.
Well, it is very entertaining. Very
entertained last week.
Anything goes on that channel. So yeah, please do go follow that. This is my I'm going to join this third week if I don't have to work, and I'm always looking at the channel and saying, did they just say that, or am I reading this right? So it's very entertaining. Terrence, what you got for us, Bubba?
First, I wanted to address how SHAUN just up and left when we were having a Superman discussion. You see, Danny, this is why I operate alone. Like, luckily, I can function without anyone else, because if I were dependent on SHAUN, like, man, SHAUN got my back on the Superman thing. SHAUN, like, he's just gone.
Yep.
So, SHAUN, if you're listening, that's a fail. But luckily, I'm not trying to, put myself on the pedestal, but luckily I do know more about Superman than he does. So I was able to maintain that, SHAUN abandoned people. But, I'm Terrence, and if you go over to the Tremaine Terrence channel, that's where you're going to find me. But, I think the most important thing is that, we have all these wholesome interactions, and, I have fun addressing everything that is thrown my direction. Because, without having fun, all this is one giant waste of time.
Very well put. My name is Danny. This is my channel, Comic Chat, every Monday night at 9 p.m. This is the Khaotic Conversation. I try to have conversation that's going to stimulate people, get us talking, because when you're tired of being at work and have all that pressure day to day, it's fun and it's exciting sometimes to just get away and talk about stuff that's important to us, but at the same time we realize that it's not real. But it sparks good conversation. Because of the power of YouTube, I was able to meet Maz Mama Bear and Terrence, Chris, Robert Storms, SHAUN Stackhouse, Fatal J. List goes on and on and on. And I would not have been able to do that without this medium. So I'm very appreciative, first of all, to YouTube. I'm glad I meet everybody. They're good on here. I'm glad I have this format that I can talk to people. Everybody on the chat, I want to thank you. I appreciate your support. You will never know how much. My next goal is 1,500 subscribers by Father's Day, and that's June, the third Sunday in June. So that is my goal. If I can get that, I'll be very, very, very happy. But I can only do that with your help. I would go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Thursday, I will be joining Mad's Mama Bear on her channel and supporting her. If you get a chance, you need to go in there. She has 2-3 other ladies that's on there. Man, they are a good group of ladies. Have fun, adult fun.
Slightly.
If you don't wanna, if you ain't I just say this. Come on there. You'll enjoy it. Terrence, we talk just about every day. Very knowledgeable guy. I've learned a lot from him. Please go and watch his channel because he is definitely funny. Try and pick out the ones about Captain Marvel, which is his favorite superhero of all time.
Oh God! Wow, man! If you humans wanted to know for a long time how they can kill me, Danny, you almost accomplished that.
So let me ask you this. I could ask you. There's nothing about that movie you like. Nothing.
I'll say this. I appreciated the moments when Nick Fury made me laugh because he was so damn silly in that movie, like very un-Nick Fury like. But I mean, I don't know if I told you, Danny, but I wasn't playing. Like I was excited for that movie, not because of Captain Marvel specifically, because her comic books are a different level of awful. But I was like, man, it was so many things in there that my brain exploded with Marvel information. I was like, oh, the Skrulls, a young Nick Fury, Coulson, the Kree Supreme Intelligence, Monica Rambeau, Ronan the Accuser. I'm like, this might be one of the best MCU films. And then I watched it and I wanted to jump off a building for even thinking that was going to be the case. Cause I was so unfulfilled, Danny.
Did you like Birds of Prey better?
Oh, absolutely. I love Birds of Prey better because at least with Birds of Prey, number one, like to me, all those characters in that movie have better comic books than Captain Marvel. Like from a writing standpoint and just sheer accomplishments without really an entire roster of Marvel characters to boost some interest in the story. Just saying. Captain Marvel on their own is pretty boring. But so yeah, Birds of Prey, I was like, man, you got Harley Quinn, you got Black Canary, you got Huntress, you got Renee Montoya, you got Cassandra Cain, you got Zaz and Black Mask. I was like, I wonder how they're going to entertain me and what comic books they're going to make me think about while I'm watching this movie. With Captain Marvel, I went in with all the stuff I just said and I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing from it. I'm like, I don't hate the movie, but it didn't do anything. I'm like, the character literally was the whole movie. I don't have my memories. I'm going to fly around. Okay, now I'm on Earth. Okay, now I met the black man that's going to like not really do anything to help me the whole movie because I'm Captain Marvel, so I don't really need any assistance. And then Jan Rog, the guy that trained her, she beat him with one blast. And that's not even a joke. That's literally what happened. And she sent them away like a little bitch, Danny. And I was like, there was nothing in this movie threatening her because the Skrulls weren't even the Skrulls. Like the Beast Green guys that I read about in Marvel comic books that go from planet to planet killing people and are a big factor in Secret Wars and how they change into different characters and they've killed superheroes because they managed to trick them. All that is gone because the Skrulls are nothing more than a bunch of characters that feel the need to hide. They can't really defend themselves. You got maybe some self-defense in like the main leader, but I was very underwhelmed with everything in that movie. I'm like, what did that character go through? What point in the movie was this character threatened? Like, even in a Superman movie, like, let's look at Man of Steel, right? He was threatened by 3 different Kryptonians, one of which was Zod. He caused him to doubt himself. He caused him to panic. Like, all that was happening with Superman, who I just said a few moments ago is a really hack character. And if they can do that with him, you got someone like Captain Marvel that's laughable if you even put her in a conversation next to Superman. Somehow she managed to upstage him in terms of hackness in her own movie, and she didn't go through nothing. I never once felt like she's going to die or I should feel bad for her, because she had it all under control. If your worst problem is that you don't have your memories, like, oh, boo-hoo, what the fuck? Like, that's your only problem. Like, no.
Yeah.
So like I said, I don't hate it, Danny, but it just, to me, it came across as a mediocre movie because there's no substance in it. It was just very silly, and it was a way for them to quickly shoehorn in a character because they saw the success of Wonder Woman, and they're like, damn, wait, so people like these female-led movies? I'm like, well, we've liked them for many decades. I mean, if I give you like Sarah Connor and Ripley from the Alien movie, Sigourney Weaver, and practically every single horror movie has a female lead, and they survive and kill the monster at the end of the franchise, like, all the time. You know, the film Nikita and Dark Angel and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Xena. You just have to do it right. Nobody said not to do it. Just don't make some forced shit that you're trying to shove down our throat and not really present us with a good character and a good story. I love badass women. Captain Marvel didn't come across to me as a badass. She was just someone that had powers that had no challenges whatsoever in her life. And I was just like, well, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised because the character is boring. But they could have did the movie in a way to where I went like, you know what, Danny? I don't like her comic books, but I like this movie. I think that's what's going to happen with Fantastic Four, Danny. Because I don't like
Terrence, darling, you're rambling.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yes, you're rambling, sweetie. We can cover the rest of this in the green room.
all right. Yeah.
Terrence, I will talk to you tomorrow, Bubba. I appreciate it. Again, thanks for coming. And we will be back next Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. Peace.